Okay, we should have our scaffolding here somewhere. But I can always get to the top without having to use scaffolding, so. Oh, there it is, over there. Ugh. Oh, fell. I love that sound. What an awful sound. It's a little less elegant, but it's definitely faster. I don't know what I'm standing on. The thing is, these are all turbo nozzles, so it's really strong, high pressure. God, that's a horrible sound. Alright, I think my kettle's gonna start boiling soon. Like in a couple seconds. Okay. I almost have to do it like perpendicular to what I want to do it. Oh, that's clean. I gotta use the aim mode more. There we go. Okay, my tea is done steeping. Gonna have to drink it in the next couple of minutes or it's gonna get cold. I'd rather not drink cold tea that's supposed to be hot. If it's iced tea, oh man, I love that stuff. I might even make some soon. Maybe even this week. I got the honey for it. Okay. Gotta take that tea bag out. Gotta wait for it to cool. But then I gotta make sure I drink it fairly soon though. Alright. Let's clean this up. I'm also gonna be a little quiet during the Power Wash Simulator segment. It allows me to relax slash not so much rest my voice, but like I don't have to expend as much voice energy to have to stream, because as mentioned before, and I'm not going to get too into it, streaming can be physically exhausting, especially for the vocal cords. So I want to make sure that I save that for the Skyrim section. Now, if conversation starts up in chat, I will obviously talk to you guys, but if I have the opportunity to kind of rest my voice, I will. Okay. I really like this new tool. It's making it very efficient. What am I missing? Do I need to take the soap to it? Oh, I'm just missing the edge. Hmm. Remy, what are you doing, Bubba baby? Oh, I see. Hold on. We're gonna do it this way so it's not jarring for the people watching. Probably one of the better additions to the game is the aim mode. You know, I can almost see PowerWash Simulator getting a Fortnite crossover where we clean up a Fortnite level and Fortniters, that's what I'm gonna call them. Fortniters get a like maybe like a limited time gun skin that makes it look like the default power wash gun, power washer, and then they also get like the default power wash outfit that's in this game. Now some of you are like, don't say that, don't give them ideas, don't will it into existence, and my thing is, I will, just to make everyone else cringe. Because it bothers me. But if it bothers everyone else just a little bit more, then I'm satisfied. Oh my god, this is so much more efficient. I'm cleaning it in seconds, what would take me in minutes. Now, there's going to be a higher chance of more specks, so I may have to take the soap to this wall after I'm done. But it's also like, I like using this tool, it's very nice. This nozzle. Go down a bit. Okay. Aha. Very well. Man, I really like this nozzle. Holy shit. It's so cool. So much fun to use. Very easy to use. Very human. I think gonna have to take a short on-stream break to have a tea and a chat. Okay. Okay, let's do this. Let's have a tea and a chat. So, for anyone who's been following both the streams and the YouTube content, I have talked about Dungeons and Dragons before. Maybe not so much in the YouTube content, but for those who know me on Twitch and on Discord, I am very much a D&D fan. I've been DMing for very many years. I thought, I can't... part of me was like, oh, D&D 5e can't be fixed, but I can fix it with Homebrew. So I got working back on Homebrew, and then I thought, I've worked more on Homebrew than I have ever playing the game. Specifically playing, not just DMing. So I thought, why don't I, once I'm finished with my D&D 5e campaigns, welcome in Skilvy, hello, good evening to you as well. Once I'm finished with my current 5e campaigns, which I am enjoying, by the way, it's more because I'm playing with friends and having a good time, not specifically because it's D&D 5e. However, the mechanics have not really been bothering me when I play. And especially since my second group online, like, they're going through a pre-written, and I never finished it with a group. So part of me is like, I don't care if they don't die or if they don't have a hard time with combat. I want to finish this pre-written. But every other time, it's been like 5e combat is boring. And players have very few options. And spellcasting is so completely overpowered in 5e. To the point where martial characters are actually severely underpowered. And magic is overpowered. Not to mention the fact that monsters are incredibly weak, or if they're not weak, they're just a sack of hit points that do a lot of damage. Like, giants in 5e are considered the most boring enemy type. You're gonna drink some tea. Like, so I thought, oh, well, instead of doing Homebrew to fix the game, why don't I give Pathfinder 2nd Edition a try? And I was looking at a few things with some, like, free documents I found, and just looking at it, I was like, I could see myself giving this a try, but all roads lead back to 3.5. I'm so enamored with all of the books that 3.5 has, the core rules, the fact that combat was not just I hit stuff because players had actual options. Players, of course, had more options besides combat. Skills were more viable. And it's just like, I really want to try out Pathfinder 2nd Edition. But I might just stick with D&D 3.5. And for any D&D players in my campaigns that are watching right now, like, I don't plan to quit the campaigns and move on. Like, no, we're gonna get as far as we can. And the only reason that I would quit the campaign is because of DM burnout. rather than I dislike 5e. I've definitely had DM burnout to the point where I would run a session for a different online group, and I just couldn't wait for the session to be over. Not because I disliked the people that were playing or that I didn't like what they were doing. It was just like I was just burnt out. And it became not fun for me to run. I love doing it now, of course, but and I think as a DM, because 5e has taught me to be kinder to the players, which is a good thing. But I think 5e has also made me forget to say no. And I think as a DM, it's important to say no to the players. Don't say no all the time, don't say no most of the time, but let the players know what they can and cannot do. Like, in fact, I've seen people make the argument that if you use rules as written, spellcasting is balanced in 5e. Part of that I agree with, but most of it I disagree with. Magic is still incredibly overpowered to the point where why even play a martial? And you can certainly build martial characters in 3.5 to just be I hit stuff. But you're making a lot of choices that impact your character based on the fact that you hit stuff. Take, for instance, a level 1 human fighter can take the toughness feat, which gives them 3 extra hit points beyond what they already have, so making them just a little bit tougher. They can also take the power attack feat, granted they have enough strength, which, if they're a strength-based fighter, they probably should. And then they can take the cleave feat. Just base cleave, not great cleave. With that, they can do -1 power attack, which that's just shorthand for they take a -1 to their attack roll, but power attack allows them to convert that -1 to the attack roll to get a +1 to the damage roll. And you're fighting little shitty goblins or whatever, little mooks. The fighter then kills the goblin because they took the gamble. That's the fun part of it. You're rolling dice. They took the gamble to take a penalty to get a bonus to damage. And if they kill the goblin and they're, say, surrounded by several other goblins, they can do the cleave attack to make an attack roll against one other goblin. And I forget the semantics of the rules as to whether or not you can use power attack outside of your turns, but I'm pretty sure you can use power attack anytime you make an attack roll. So you could power attack, cleave, power attack. Granted, cleave only works once. To use it theoretically an unlimited amount of times, you would have to have the great cleave feat, which again, you just need power attack and cleave. So you could be a level 2 fighter, because I believe fighters get a bonus feat at level 1. Every character gets a feat at level 1, and a human gets another feat at level 1. So at level 2, a fighter can take Great Cleave, and then because you're a fighter at level 2, your base attack bonus goes up to +2, so you can take a -2 power attack. And if you hit, that's +2 to damage, which makes killing things a lot more efficient. And then, oh, I have cleave and great cleave. I'm going to try and kill this other wounded goblin. Oh, he's dead. And then, oh, this other goblin is in range. I'm going to hit him too. And let's say you roll a crit. Oh, he's dead too. And then there's 3 goblins dead. That's far more interesting, not even using any of the interesting game mechanics that every single character can do in combat in 3.5. But convert that to 5e and you're just a level 1 fighter who just hits stuff. Now they can take the second wind feature to heal themselves, and they can take the action surge ability to take another action, which includes attacks. But a level 1 fighter in 5e, unless you take a feat as a human, which you have to be a variant human to be, which means DMs have to not only allow you to be a variant human, but they also have to allow you to use feats. Just having more tea. Because feats in 5e are technically optional. DMs can just say you're not allowed to have any feats. So, I mean, most DMs in 5e are like, yeah, take some feats if you want to. But also in 5e, in order to take feats, normally, variant humans can just have one. In order to take feats, you have to sacrifice an ability score improvement to get that. In 3.5, you just get a feat. Every character gets a feat at level 1. Humans get an additional one at level 1. Fighters get a select amount of bonus feats every other level, except for first and second. And then it's first, second, fourth, sixth, eighth, so on and so forth. You get far more options in 3.5. And let's say you want to be a character who's a fighter, but they don't use any weapons, but they still use armor. You can make a strength-based grappling fighter and still be effective. In 5e, when you grapple somebody, it's kind of like you grapple them, but then it's like, now what? Where sure, you can punch a guy you're grappling in 5e, there's nothing stopping you. But also you can just attack someone with a regular weapon. A two-handed reach weapon, you can hit someone while grappling. And that's when it's like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Huh? And then it also trivializes the unarmed attacking while grappling a character in 5e because you could be wielding a great axe, which does considerably more damage. Where in 3.5, if you build your character around just doing unarmed, there's plenty of options. And this is for a fighter, not necessarily a monk. So, and I'm not saying like 3.5 good, 5e bad. What I'm saying is, I'm ready to move away from 5e. Welcome in, Brave. Hello, Daddy Brave. Is the plan here to power wash the volcano out? Because I'm on board with that. Well, currently I'm yammering on about stupid shit while also drinking tea. But I'm threatening the volcano menacingly with my water. And this is a tri-tip nozzle, so I'm cleaning this much more efficiently. We're cleaning a temple. It is technically a pyramid, but it's more of a temple than pyramid. We're just kind of looking at the landscape while I yammer on and drink some tea. How you doing today, Brave? Anyways, where was I? I'm not making this so much as a 3.5 good, 5e bad. I'm just saying I'm very tired of 5e, and I'm ready to revert editions or switch to Pathfinder. TTRPGs is something you're passionate about, so yammer away, please. Okay. Well, I have permission now. But... and it's not even... I don't even think it's because 5e is bad. I think it's because I'm incompatible with 5e. Yeah, the guy who is modding Skyrim to be more realistic and medieval and historically accurate, no surprise he's incompatible with the high fantasies, ultra magical, magic is overpowered system of the game. No surprise there. And it's not like 3.5 is any more realistic. It's got, like, so much stuff that's just unrealistic. But either way. All is well with you aside from forgetting your PT stretches and meds for a couple days. Oh, no. Well, stretches are important, but you can always go without. But meds are a little more important than stretches, so I hope you can get back on track. Speaking of, I need to take my meds for the morning, and since my doctor basically said I could take my meds at the same time, like, instead of doing one in the morning, one at night, I could just kind of take them all at the same time at a specific hour of the day. So once I finish my tea, I'm gonna pop those pills, I guess. Because there's no reason I can't take them at the same time, according to my doctor. I think it's just that's a good way to keep a schedule. But yeah, I think I want to try Pathfinder 2nd Edition, but I already have the books for 3.5, at least some in PDF, some in physical. And I really don't want to spend $60 on buying Pathfinder for Roll20, especially since that's just the core rulebook. When we also have the Bestiary and the Game Mastery Guide. And if the core rulebook on Roll20 is $60, it's kind of like, I don't know if I'm ready to spend the money. And I know what some of you might say. You could say, oh, sail the high seas. And my answer is, I tried. I'm not usually one to support piracy anyways, but, like, I already looked. Didn't find much. Because I have no problem supporting the systems that I use financially. But I'd like to try it out, see if I want to run it at some point. But 3.5 just has such a history. And I think part of it is I'm nostalgic and I've got rose-tinted glasses. And I think part of it is I grew up in a house where D&D was banned. So, and pretty much it was like we were playing D&D just fine. And then my brother's psychiatrist was like, D&D bad, you should make him not play it. My parents, not knowing any better, oh, the psychiatrist says D&D is banned. So, it was kind of like, that's bullshit, and we shouldn't do what he says. And so it was very much ripped away from me, making me lose out on possibly the best years of D&D that I could have had. So there's a little bit of emotional baggage for me with 3.5. It still holds up, even now it's worth getting back to it, I think. It's not that it holds up, it's just, it's what I want. And from my own opinion, it is a better system than 5th edition. 5th edition is awesome. It did so much for the hobby. It built such a great community for D&D that, like, D&D is pretty mainstream. Like, sure, there was a few hints at it in popular culture and media even when I was a kid, which is well after the Satanic Panic.
Is this how you honor the 6th house and the tribe unmourned? Come to me openly, and not by stealth.
Welcome in, Erica. Thank you for the raid. We are enjoying a tea and a chat while I'm yammering on about D&D and all that. Let me give you a couple shout-outs here. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. Welcome in, raiders. So, /shoutout, Erica the... If I can spell it right. Erica the cat. So if you'd look at the chat, something went wrong when... Twitch, just do it. Why isn't Twitch just doing it? Why isn't Twitch doing the shout-out? Okay, well, let me just try it the traditional way then. Thanks, Twitch. It says something went wrong when attempting to perform the shout-out. Anyways, I want to do both because it just is better that way. But you can click on the link in the shout-out message to follow Erica the cat. Please do so. She is amazing. You never knew how to use the Twitch shout-out, to be honest. You do /shout-out and then the person's name. And I would do that, but Twitch won't let me. I like doing both because the Streamlabs or whatever stream bot of your choice has the shout out link does it, and the link also displays like a quick pop-up of like the actual streamer. So I think that was a new addition to Twitch/Streamlabs or whatever. So I like that. But I also like using the shout out function on Twitch because it pops up in the top of the chat room like, hey, you can follow this person, and then you can follow them right from there. So that's why I like to do that, and remind people that they can use that function to follow the person right from the chat room. So before we get back to the power washing, oh, I don't want to highlight that. Before we get back to the power washing, I do need to take some medication because I forgot to do that earlier, and I can take both of them right now. Welcome in, CC. Thank you for joining the raid. Alright, let's get back to the power washing. Okay, we're doing this pyramid temple thing. And I'm doing the temple walls. We have a brand new nozzle, which is making power washing much, much easier. Oh, hold on. Let me do it the way that's not going to hurt your eyes. So I hope everyone is doing okay today. Pretty much done talking about D&D. Although, certainly chatters can bring it up if they so wish. We'll be on Lurk, gonna do some small leveling, been poor in-game. Oh no! What were you playing, by the way? I didn't catch it in the shout-out I did. Following this damn gun back and forth with your eyes like a cat with a laser pointer. Nice. Yeah, this is making cleaning much, much, much more efficient. This wall would have taken me several minutes. Now it's taking me maybe a minute. I also like using aim mode because it's a little easier to use and it's less jarring to look at. Because otherwise it's like this. And this is just much simpler. We will also be switching to Skyrim once this level is finished. We're also almost an hour in, so I don't really want to spend the entire stream on this level. But if I can finish one level per stream, then that is fine with me. Now, like I said, I would have finished this already if Steam had not lost the save data somehow. I basically got put back a few months of progress, which is fine, because this game is fun to play. There's not really any stakes to it. But it was also slightly frustrating, because it's like, I had to do some levels over again, and I was basically done with this level, and then that's when the save loss happened. I don't even know how it happened. It's not like the save data got corrupted, because it would have been like, oh, your save is corrupted, you have to start over completely, and it's like, okay. But, so like, I don't think it was a save corruption. It could have been that it was saving the files on a cloud, but then wasn't saving it locally. And then I told it not to use Cloud Sync because that is a dumb feature and it just causes headaches. And lo and behold, I think it caused a headache. But either way, this game is fun, so I don't mind redoing a few levels. It's not like I lost all my progress either. Because if I lost all my progress, I probably wouldn't be streaming it. I'd still be playing it, I just wouldn't be streaming it. Okay, these walls are done. Skyrim back at it with mods. Nice. Yeah, I definitely understand the necessity to get resources in video games, especially if you're doing it in a way that's not exactly the most entertaining thing to stream. It's like, I like doing settlement building in Fallout 4, but granted, I've had some renewed confidence to do it on stream, but settlement building in Fallout 4 is something I always usually did off stream. Okay. But I have renewed confidence to say do that, because I see lots of Fallout 4 streamers, well, lots, as in 2, but I've seen 2 of them do settlement building, and it's not like it's a boring thing for the chat. Especially since one of the streamers I watch do settlement building, like, that's mostly what she does, and only recently has she decided to quote-unquote play the game. And it became a meme in her channel because someone came in basically kind of sort of complaining that they weren't out killing things and clearing dungeons. And the thing they said was, you gotta kill people in this game, you know? So it became a meme on her channel, basically like, in Fallout 4, you're supposed to kill things. That's the point of the game. Because she spent most of her time building. And it's like, just let her build, maybe? It's totally fine. Oh, this thing has a limited range, it seems. And I honestly would rather watch her do settlement building than watch her kill things. Gotta go up a little. I was gonna watch her last night, but Toicha, that is, that's her name. It's not exactly spelled the same way you say it, but, well, I guess it is if you're being phonetic, but it's kind of hard to explain, I guess. Yeah, she's pretty cool. And I especially like watching Jungle TZ stream Fallout 4, because she does like a mix of settlement building and doing questing and all that. But she's just like, this goes to like a bunch of streamers, like Skyrim streamers and all that, but I don't really watch streamers for the game they're playing. The game they're playing is the door. That opens the door for me to come in. But most of the time when I'm watching a streamer, it's because I'm there for them. Okay, I'm missing some dirt. Possibly the blue part. Alright. It's like, I think Arabies is talking about, like, maybe branching out at some point with other games, because Skyrim is kind of getting, not stale yet. Like, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I think they were saying that they can't do Skyrim forever. And, like, I'll still watch them play other games. Because I'm there to watch them, not Skyrim. If I wanted to watch Skyrim, there's plenty of no commentary Let's Plays on YouTube. So, but just kind of voicing my opinion on, you know, why I watch different streamers. So I do need to clean the blue part. Let me get this section. Okay. Oh, missed a spot. Clean it all up. Okay, clean up the edges here. Ah! I want to be done with this in no time. And also, if I'm quiet, it's just because this is relaxation time for me as much as it is for everyone else. So, I will probably be talking a hell of a lot more during the Skyrim section. Just, this is relaxation time, and I don't need to stress my voice for the entire stream. But I'm also finding myself more talkative, so I'm talking, of course, about not talking. And what am I doing to talk about it? I'm talking about it. How many more times do you want me to say talk? Anyways, I'm being pedantic. I see. Okay. Ah! Change the nozzle. And I think I have all the PowerWash upgrades other than the cosmetics. Which, of course, cosmetics aren't really upgrades anyways. This whole windowsill is considered part of the palace wall, huh? I guess so. Do I need to take soap to it? Drink some water. Speaking of Fallout 4, that is a meme from Fallout 4. Speaking of, I actually, that's my cue to hydrate. So let me just inspect this wall. Need to inspect it for imperfections. I might have to take the soap to it. Because the soap is a big, wide, soft nozzle, but it uses soap, so cleans it up real fast. Let me get my water. We will switch to Skyrim at some point. I might have to do half of this level and then switch. Basically, the limit on this will be the 2-hour mark, because we'll be doing 4 hours, and I don't want to go over half time on just this. Okay, let me take the soap nozzle to this. And this is stone, so okay. Could also be these edges here. Where is this dirt? Is it like... Oh, I see. There we go. Anyways, I got on the topic of tabletop RPGs because I specifically wanted to talk about one thing that I want to work on besides just homebrew, because I'm not going to work on homebrew anymore, I don't think. Not unless it's homebrew for things that for a system that I do plan to use. Because I don't want to make homebrew for 5e anymore. It's just for me to make homebrew, I have to fix the entire system, and I'm not interested in doing that anymore. At one point, I may have been interested in fixing the entire system. Not anymore. Anyways, the point I wanted to make was I plan to make a Google document documenting a guide to like all the content in D&D 3.5. Because there's a lot that's just official. There's a ton more that's homebrew. Well, homebrew or third party. I much prefer third party over homebrew because D&D 3.5 homebrew can be a little contrived. Like, we're talking similar to the early days of D&D 5e homebrew. Because 5e homebrew is easy to make. It's hard to balance. So making D&D 5e homebrew is actually fairly easy. Balancing it is hard. Now, compared to 3.5, creating homebrew for 3.5 is not only very hard to do, but it's also very hard to balance. So I think that's also partially owing to the amazing simplicity of D&D 5e is the homebrew is a little easier to be made. Not saying it's easy to make, but it's easier than older editions because the rules are a little more simple in the sense of designing things for it is a little easier. But I want to create a guide for D&D 3.5 so that mostly it'll be personal use of like, oh, I'm trying to get my new players who got used to D&D 5e into D&D 3.5. So I want to make a guide, not so much to teach them how to play, but more like, here's everything that's in all these books. You can find it on this page, and here's a short description. So that people who want to get into 3.5 but are scared of, well, I don't know what's in there, or how are you going to explain this to me? I'm a little simple-minded, poor little monkey. I cannot understand D&D 3.5. Then I'd be like, well, allow me to explain, and here's some content that you might be interested for creating your character with. Like, I'll not deny it. 3.5 is pretty complicated as a system. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good as a system, too. And I think in the inverse, both 5e's simplicity, or should I say 5e's simplicity is both amazing and awesome. It also dumbs down the game and makes player character victories pretty much always assured. And I don't really care for the mentality of, well, if the DM just did this. It's like, D&D 5e is the easiest edition to play. It is probably the hardest to be a dungeon master for. Mostly because the rules really don't help the dungeon master. They're both, not only the community has the idea of you're the DM, figure it out, but a lot of the rule books, especially the Dungeon Master's Guide, is lol, you're the DM, figure it out yourself. And it's like, no, I kind of need some explanation here, because sometimes adjudicating a rule is not as simple as yes, you can do it and no, you can't. Like, sometimes adjudicating a rule, a little more simple than that. Or a little less simple than that, I should say. But the books are just like, lol, figure it out yourself. It's like, I might as well just make my own system then. Or go back to a system where that actually supports dungeon masters. Because I am a dungeon master with not only 12 plus years of experience, but like almost 10 years of experience exclusively with 5e. So I'm by no means a noob DM when it comes to 5e. I still struggle with quite a lot of rules adjudications that aren't necessarily covered in the books. So in the inverse, how is a brand new DM going to figure this out? Welcome in, Sweet Juicy. How's it going, friend? Are you getting Sons of the Forest? Probably not. Just more lack of interest than anything. I'll go ahead and clean this while I'm here. The Forest seems like a game that interests me, but not enough to spend money on it or play. And it's also one of those games that's like better with friends. And while I do have online friends to play with, I tend to make friends with people just like me. Poor and socially awkward. So not only is it going to be hard to convince people to buy a video game that I could play together, but then also like having the spoons to want to play with other people, and then also schedule. Schedule's like the least problematic part, but it still can be a problem because, you know, we're all adults and schedules are hard to do. And it's also one of those things of it would just be another game to add to the list of games that I need to stream. Welcome in, Kitty. How you doing, friend? I hope you're doing well today. We caught a rare Brave here today. Daddy Brave. I'm dying of overfeed. Sounds like me yesterday when I had spaghetti. Because I had spaghetti and I was like, oh man, I really want to eat more, but I'll make myself miserable if I do. Man, I just love how efficient this new nozzle is. It's like the last upgrade. It's worth it too. Which is also why, like, I clean everything in a level, even though you're not necessarily required to clean everything. Especially since it helps with like the saving of the game. Like you can just play, stop playing, and then start back up again, and you're back where you're left off. Unless your Steam fails like mine did. That's just a joke. A joke at my expense. Daddy Brave. But, yeah, I think 5e is good. I just don't particularly care for it. It's a system for D&D that I am incompatible with. And 3.5 has enough options in the system that I could design not just my own system. I could just take what 3.5 has in place already and just be like, hey guys, here's this campaign that is only non-magical classes with non-magical options for a realistic, historically accurate system, campaign. Don't have to change the rules, maybe slightly. Don't have to really futz with any problems of this is overpowered or this is underpowered. I just pick some options, I ask my players if they want to play it, and then I get to creating interesting worlds with interesting characters and tell a story. Collaboratively, of course, because that's what D&D is. It's collaborative storytelling with some math. Like, I don't really want to design homebrew anymore. I just want to sit and... I don't want to create systems. I want to create worlds and characters. And I think that's mostly what it comes down to with the whole I'm tired of making homebrew. I just want to sit down and play. I don't want to have to fix the fucking game all the time. I'm talking about D&D, by the way, not Skyrim. I have fixed Skyrim for the most part. Fixed, quote-unquote, fixed. As in, I can actually play the game now. It's not freezing. And I do have occasional things that I come across that are like, oh, that gotta get fixed. Oh, this bug happened. I gotta reload some saves. Or, oh, this thing broke. I gotta console command it. Like with Lucia, the adoptable child in Whiterun. I adopted her, and she wouldn't actually come to the house. So I just console command teleported her inside the house, and then it continued as normal. So sometimes you gotta make concessions with Skyrim. Anyways, going on other tangents. What did I just say about taking this time to relax and not stress my voice by not talking so much and being quiet? What am I doing? I'm doing a lot of talking, aren't I? I think that tea hit me a little harder than it was supposed to. Thank you for the hydrate. I will get right on that. I'm gonna just clean this section here. Okay. It is a little toasty in here, but I also had the oven running not that long ago to heat up some pork chops. And I also just drank a bunch of hot tea, so I'm a little toasty probably just because. Let me up here. I might have to grab the scaffolding now and actually, you know, go to the front. I might actually just clean this side up to that little jutting out blue part and then just move on to the next side. Generally, I don't like to clean something only halfway and then move on. But this is a case of this thing is so fucking big that I kind of have to move on to the next wall, which is of course on this end. Actually, do I want to fix this like whole thing? Yeah, I think we're gonna save that for later. Let me up. So how you doing today, kitty? I hope you're doing okay. Of course, besides, you know, being stuffed full of food. You're good? That's good. And if you weren't good, then I hope we can make you better. Had only one class today? Ooh, that's nice. I wonder how far I can reach with this if I had the extra long attachment. Because right now I'm just using the long. Imagine if I had to do this the traditional way with the regular nozzles. Oh, this would take so long. This is like the one of the major size levels. It's kind of like the subway level where it's like, oh, it's not so much that there's a lot, it's just it's so big that cleaning it takes forever. The temple, the runic temple was also kind of like that. Or it's kind of like a stave church almost. Thankfully, we got a really cool teacher this semester too. We were in that crappy computer room with early 2000s PCs with Windows XP on them. He was roasting the university the whole 2 hours. Oh my god. That sounds amazing. This guy is based. Reminds me when I was at ITT Tech, that is. Like around the time that I was doing my final course before I graduated, I think some of the teachers, specifically the teacher in that course, was kind of openly talking with another teacher about kind of how bad ITT is. And I think it was like openly kind of also talking to students while teaching, not so much teaching the course so much as it was just supervising while we were working on projects. And it was also it was also one of the first few times, it wasn't the first time my eyes were opened about ITT, but it was one of the first few times where I was like, this college might be a scam. Spoiler alert, it was. So I think it was just a little bit of vindication from the teachers as well. Because that's just it. The teachers are just as blameless as the students when it comes to a lot of the for-profit stuff here in America. Like, when it came to college number 2, my dad was a professor for the company that owned the school that I was going to. Hence the full-time benefits that I could, have a tuition waiver for. And then when he lost his full-time position, he just got demoted from full-time to part-time. I lost those tuition waivers, and I'm like, I'm not pulling student loans out for this. I'm not going to go further into debt for this. Granted, I was actually enjoying the education I got at college number 2. I was actually having a good time. I don't know how I survived it. I had like 1 hour of sleep a night, if that. I was basically exhausted constantly. But the quality of education and the amount of fun I had, mostly because of the learning opportunities I had, it's like, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Okay, we do need to clean this, I think. I don't know if I cleaned that other pyramid head, the decoration figure thing. Your favorite was honestly how he broke the ice, so to say. All he did was say they brought really nice tables and chairs for us to sit on, but forgot we work with computers here. Yeah. I think it's great when students get vindicated, either in college or else, or otherwise. Granted, if it's like high school students who are just being little shits, then it's like, eh. But also, I remember in my high school, we had a notorious, like, awful principal in, like, the middle schools, who also became the principal of our specific, like, class year. Like, there was a principal for each, like, freshman, junior, sophomore, that sort of thing. And she was so unliked by the student body that when we had a student, like, council thing, like, where they get all the students from the school, get them together, and the principal says a few things and all that. She was being, like she had just started, and she was being introduced as the new, like, whatever principal of the class. And remember, she's not very well liked by pretty much every student. She was trying to lead the high school in saying that the national anthem. And the entire time, pretty much every student was just going boo, like just not wanting her to talk. and like it pissed off like the over principal, like the headmaster or whatever you want to call her. And hilariously enough, the other computer rooms have old furniture. Oh, I see. And they did. The tables and chairs were brand new. Sounds like that instructor was kind of poignant and astute about their observation to quickly make a joke at the school's expense. Anyways, my like sure it could be chalked up to the high school students in my high school were just being shitty to the new principal, but she was also like not a good person, and she was unliked for a very good reason. And I had her as my middle school principal. And from a personal story where basically I understood that I was being bullied by another kid, and I'm like, I'm not gonna let this happen again. So I pretty much just started a fight with the kid, beat his ass, and then I got in trouble. And she was all like, we have a no tolerance policy for fighting. Like, you seemed to have a lot of tolerance when I was being bullied by him. So already I didn't like her. But when a whole bunch of other students didn't like her, and the entire student body, not just the freshmen, but everybody was booing her. Like, when it's supposed to be a thing that, oh, we should have respect for the national anthem, and so we can get through it and be good little nationalists. It was just like, no, fuck this lady, boo. It's very vindicating that everyone else, pretty much everyone in the student body, was on the same page. And I think she actually resigned because nobody liked her, because she built a reputation of being an awful principal. That's one of those things I can look back on and just smile. Because when it comes to, like, because going back to the bullying thing, we're not going to get into this too much because I don't want to bore you with my horrible trauma. But when it comes to bullying, a lot of teachers and principals and school staff are pretty complicit because they don't do a damn thing. They don't do a damn thing until someone makes a stink. They don't ever actually try to defend a student unless they're forced to. So, when I pretty much defend myself with righteous and peaceful violence against another student, suddenly it's all, oh, we have a no tolerance policy. Ah, okay. No tolerance for fighting, but plenty of tolerance for bullying, I see. That's why the no tolerance policies I always hear about are like, yeah, that's just a bunch of bullshit. Needless to say, I got a couple free days where I could just stay at home and play video games. Because she suspended me. Which is fine. That's the fine part. The suspension is not what I'm hung up on. It's the treating me like a piece of shit because I knew for a fact the school staff wouldn't do anything about it, so I had to take matters into my own hands preemptively. It's almost like I've been down that road before. So, anyways, just talking about students being vindicated and some extra Lou lore. I mean Remy lore. That's right, I'm Remy. It's not really a secret. Trying not to hit the button over and over again. But yeah, that's just, you know, some extra lore. So yes, I think your teacher is very based, as the kids would say. It's toasty in here. Is it one of those days where, like, we just had a snowstorm, so now it's going to be back to being 40 plus degrees outside? Is it going to be one of those days? This is fine, I can just open a window. In fact, I would prefer to. I think it's better yet when college students get vindicated, because for the most part, college students are adults. Like, a lot of the times, grown adults. Sure, most of the time it's like 20-year-olds who, you know, pretty much might as well be kids. But from my own experience, like, sometimes it's grown adults being treated like children. And it's like, excuse me, you don't treat me like that. Like, if I had gone to college now, and I had that one course at my second college with the teacher that was obsessed with video game addiction, and was generally a piece of shit, I wouldn't put my hands on him, but I would definitely give him an earful. Because, you know, as adults, you don't hurt another person. You don't put your hands on somebody. Unless you want to go to jail or whatever. But I definitely would not have put up with this nonsense. Because despite being a man in his 50s, he seemed very childish. Almost a man-child, if you will. And I think part of the reason that I say if I had that college instructor now, and I would speak up, is because I have the experience of dealing with those kinds of people, where I'm more than willing to speak up now. Man-children in U.S. academia? That's the word. No way. Well, basically, his personality was, I'm so rich and successful because I'm rich and successful. Look at my mansion and my cars. My son is also rich and successful. Look at his mansion and cars. Also, you're all bad at art. You're never going to make it in the industry. And instead of actually teaching you the course material, which was management in video game design, it's basically how to manage a design team as a leader. I'm just going to show you a whole bunch of video game addiction documentaries and then proceed to say that video game addiction is not real. And then just make the class generally miserable for everybody. So, yeah, that was that guy. And like, I've told this part of the story plenty of times, but it was so bad that when we were doing our finals, which I have no idea how I passed that course because I pretty much learned nothing. And when I was doing the finals, it was just more gut feeling and intuition than it was actual, like, what we learned, because there were some questions on the test where it was like, did we actually go over that in the course? Like, did we actually go over that material? Not to mention the fact that I had to buy a book for the course, and we almost never used it. So it got so bad that after the finals, he had a free pizza party where he bought the pizza and he was going to give it to the students. I didn't stay. I didn't stay for the pizza party. So you know when Lou doesn't stay for free pizza simply out of spite, you know it's bad. You know it's a miserable experience. If Lou, the large man and cat, Lou and Remy, doesn't stay for free pizza, you know it's bad. Not the pizza. The pizza wasn't bad. I mean, I didn't have any, but it's not that the pizza was bad. The person was just miserable to be around. I'm like, as soon as I turn this in, I'm leaving. Telling people they won't succeed in being hard on them is fine. Just look at the army, but my fucking god, at least teach the people what they should know. If his whole point was to be like a U.S. Marine instructor and be mean to us to build us, to break us down, and then use the college material to build us back up, I think I might have enjoyed that, actually. But it's also like, dude, this isn't the military. I'm here to learn, not be talked down to. And if it was the military, I probably would have taken it on the chin and just taken it instead of feeling spiteful. I've been like, whatever, it's just part of military. But again, it was an art school where they teach you how to make video games. It's like, dude, treat some people with respect, or you won't get respect in return. And that's why I don't really jive with the whole, oh, you gotta earn respect. No, you give respect, and I decide if I give it back. Respect is mutual. And typically, if people disrespect me in my first few engagements with them, I have no reason to respect them. Oh, but you gotta respect your elders. Didn't you just say something about earning respect? Those elders have to earn my respect. Ranting again. I'm ranting again. And this isn't just, lol, boomers are bad. No. Because some people in Generation Z would look at me, a young 32-year-old man, and be like, yeah, you're such a boomer. Like, wait, what? I'm 32. I'm 32. I'm not old. So it's just like, whatever. In Eastern Europe, you respect the elders unconditionally. Well, that's also a cultural difference. Did I miss something over here? Do I want to clean this right now? I want to clean this right now. You do not want angry Slavic babushka chasing you, screaming at you. Well, that's also a cultural difference. As I said. And generally, you're supposed to be nice to your relatives. Because they're your relatives. But it's also the idea of just because someone is blood related doesn't mean you have to be nice to them. Especially if they're abusive. So many times I've heard stories of someone being horribly abused by a person, and then when that person is like on their deathbed with cancer, everyone's like, oh, you gotta visit them in the hospital. It's like, no, I don't. Not me, of course. I was not abused when I grew up. I think there was moments where I was mistreated, but I wouldn't say I was abused. But I've heard plenty of stories of people being abused, and then other people using the excuse of, oh, you're related, you gotta go help them out. Like, no, fuck them. Fuck that person. I am rant. In 2023, Lou and Remy will get mean. Alright, no, it's the other way around. Lou and Remy will get mean in 2023. That is also a meme, not of my own origin. I did not create that meme, but it is pretty funny. I think it's also generally a thing of I have the experience and the age to say I don't have to deal with bullshit. And if people want respect, I will generally respect people on a first chance meeting. But if they give me a reason not to respect them, I can go ahead and take that respect right back. Ah, the nozzle! Speaking of memes, I gotta try the MGR silent patch? What is that? Do you realize it came out, but Silent never actually compiled it? Someone on Nexus did it like a week ago. Ooh. Does that just make all the voice lines silent or something? Does that make it, like, funny because they're not actually talking? Or is it like silent protagonist for, like, Fallout 4? Where it literally makes it so the main character doesn't talk? Or is it just they don't talk and it's funny? Haha. Silent is a guy who makes patches for games. Interesting. Mostly retro games. Okay. Oh, I see. It's not a Silent voice mod. It's patches for the game by a guy named Silent. I see. I understand. I think. So what kind of patch did he make? Is it just generally a gameplay overhaul? Like one could call the Spartan mod for Ghost Recon Breakpoint a patch, but it's also so much more than a patch. It's a complete gameplay overhaul. Gotcha. So what exactly does it do? I mean, I'm not really familiar with Metal Gear Rising mechanics. All I really know is it's an action game with some stuff. It also does something I really like in video games. Like, it has both agency for the player, in the sense that the player can kind of finish any combat encounter the way they want. But it's also got some scripted moments in combat that leads to cool cinematic shit. And combat narrative. Combat narrative. There I go again with combat narrative. That's one thing I think Metal Gear Rising and games like it, like Devil May Cry, does extremely well is combat narrative, especially since a lot of those games are very music heavy. He just fixes broken things with the games. For Metal Gear Rising, at least the provided changes are a fixed equipable item, added ability to use extra mouse buttons, and a fix for a safe folder location. I see. I think he's also trying to fix performance issues that weren't listed. I see. Like a ninja patch, if you will. Which Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and maybe to an extent Ghost Recon Wildlands, I just don't quite remember. I think those had plenty of course, official Ubisoft patches, but I think they had a lot of like stealth patches that did both good and bad things for the games. Like, one of the bad things that they patched out of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, granted the overall experience did improve when they added the immersive mode, which makes it play like a shooter and not Borderlands. It overall improved the experience to the point where if there was no Spartan mod if there was no Spartan mod, I would have no problem playing the game vanilla, but with immersive mode. And if there was no immersive mode, but there was a Spartan mod, I probably wouldn't even play the game. Yeah, I need the scaffolding now because I need up on that ed. But one of the things they stealth patched out of Breakpoint in that immersive mode update was the ability to remove map markers, as in like every single map marker. Every single map marker, invisible ones, discovered ones, campsites, every single one used to be able to be removed. So you actually had to use the map like a map. You actually had to navigate properly. And while you can still somewhat do that now, it's not anywhere near the way it used to be. And it was one of the best features I had, or that I liked, in the older versions of Breakpoint, which were inferior pre-immersive mode update. For GTA San Andreas, for example, he fixes the wonky frame pacing so the game actually runs at 30 FPS, not 35 with the frame times of 30 FPS, and fixes some broken models and stuff as well. I see. Like, that's one thing I really liked about Ghost Recon Breakpoint during the dark ages, was the ability to remove map markers so I could actually be forced to navigate. Oh, something, I don't know, a special forces behind enemy lines in the jungle would have to do is to be able to know how to use a map. It was very immersive, and they got rid of that feature, and they didn't say they were getting rid of it, so I was a little disappointed. Just gonna clean the interior of this entrance. Not really get too far with it. There we go. 30 minus 5, I see. 30 minus 5 with the frame times of 30. I don't know exactly what that means. So it sounds like some sort of frame math timing thing that I don't quite understand, but otherwise doesn't sound like an ideal experience. If you could explain it to me like I'm 5, math is broken. I see. Okay. So the math for the frame timing is broken, so he fixed it. I think I understand. It's kind of like, you know, when I was running Skyrim with too many mods and I was getting constant stuttering. I still get stuttering from time to time, but it's not nearly as bad. And basically it would be like 40 FPS, 35 FPS, 38 FPS, 41 FPS. The fact that it would jump so much was more jarring than it just being at low frame rate. What's hilarious is the fix is literally a single bit flip in the executable, and Rockstar never did it. Interesting. And that was the old San Andreas, not the remake. I don't think anyone really plays the remake. The defective edition. I'm not cleaning the interior, I'm just getting this interior, like, doorway cleaned. People are like, I don't care. It's like, I do. I'm explaining my process of cleaning this, because I'm a pedantic nerd. Okay, what did I miss? Oh, it's this stuff. Oop. There we go. Defective edition only has one person. Yeah, it's to be laughed at. Like people would probably only play it either to show how bad it is or as a meme, because it's so bad. And generally, there's probably somebody's kid who's like, Dad, I really want to play the new Grand Theft Auto games. Can you get that for me on the Switch? I don't know if it's actually on the Switch. And of course, typical gamer parents like, yeah, I'll get you GTA. What kind of game is that anyway? I don't know. I can't be fucking bothered to do any research for getting my kids products that may or may not be damaging to their psyche when they are so impressionable and young. That's a little more on the nose I would like to be, but that's how I'd roll, so. I'm just in a ranty mood today, aren't I? I'm in a good mood. I just feel like taking a piss. I feel like being scunty about it. Let's see, especially after Retro Studio showed that what can actually be done with original game code. Yeah, like, it's kind of like, oh, a remaster that isn't just bad, it's actually good, and not just good as in it's, you know, it's a remaster for new hardware, like, it's actually impressive. Okay. Alright then. Because generally, when it comes to certain remasters, it's like, does this really need a remaster? Does this really need to be remastered? And some remasters, it's like, okay, that's fine and all, but I don't plan to play it because I'm not interested in the game. And then other remasters, like the Metroid Prime one, is like, holy shit! How the fuck did they do this? How the fuck did they get this to run that good on a Switch? A fucking Switch! So, like, because generally, I'm not super against remasters or remakes, because, you know, I do want a Legend of Dragoon remake at some point. But generally, I would rather have a brand new video game than just another remaster, another remake, another reboot. Like, please, just come up with something else. And I know why they do it. It's because it's safe. Why try out a new IP that might fail when you can try an IP that does work? And then you also have situations like the Defective Edition where, well, check out these old classic games. You loved them, right? Not this copy. I'd rather play on PS2. Or at least an emulated version with, like, custom community patches. Instead of shell out money for this garbage. Another reason I'm waiting a week when it comes to Starfield. For Starfield, I have a feeling I'm gonna buy it anyways. But I am gonna wait a week. I'm not getting burned by another video game. I've been burned by too many video games. To no one's surprise, most of the video games I've been burned by were Ubisoft games. Granted, I enjoy Ghost Recon Breakpoint these days. I certainly enjoy Ghost Recon Wildlands. In fact, I would say if Ghost Recon Wildlands wasn't a game I got burned by, Breakpoint definitely was. But I can enjoy these games now, but I can also recognize they're not very good games. I enjoy them, but they're not very good. Same with Dynasty Warriors. I do enjoy them, but not all of them are very good. Take, for instance, I enjoyed Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires, but I can't recommend anyone pay for it and buy it. I cannot recommend anyone purchase it. It is not worth $60. It's worth like $20. And that's coming from a Koei Tecmo Muso fanboy. It's not worth $60. It's pretty repetitive, even for a Muso game. Don't buy it. Okay, I need to get the scaffolding now. I am going to clean this section here. Coming up on the last 5 minutes of this segment of the stream. Funny you say that. I watched a Count Dankula video today where he ranted about parents refusing to parent. Yep, that is a thing. It's worth ranting about, too. People should, you know, pay attention to what their kids are doing. Some people will say, you gotta beat your kids. No, you don't need to do that. I think discipline in other ways can certainly help, but don't beat your kids. Don't emotionally or verbally abuse them either. Just some discipline. PS2 GTA SA is the best SA, save for the frame rate and resolution. Right. You would never hurt your fellow gamers. Ah! Honey, get the belt. Timmy is summoning Satan again. You've been spending too much damn time on that stupid TikTok. Why didn't you like my post on Facebook? That's of course, you know, showing the hypocrisy. You know, the parents will be like, you can't be on TikTok anymore. You spend too much time on it, while they're busy posting conspiracy theories on Facebook. Trying to straighten this. Straighten scaffolding out. Straighten scaff more out. My favorite with parenting is testing MGR. Alrighty, you enjoy that. My favorite is when parents are like, when they take their kid into a store and their kid is like crying about something. Like, I don't get mad if kids are crying. Kids, they're kids, come on. But when it's like the kid is crying, and then because they're crying and they're not being paid attention to, they cry even louder. They cry even louder. Okay, they're screaming now. Okay, now they sound like the sounds of hell. Now they sound like a demon. And the parent is just walking with their cart, head down, facing their phone. Like, pay attention to your child. They are clearly distressed about something. Do something about it. Not necessarily for my sake, per se, but like, for not only the child's sake, but for the sake of everyone else in the store. Like, if your child is being bratty, at least, you know, do something about it. Don't just sit there with your face buried in your phone, completely ignoring it. And honestly, I hate to say it, but a lot of those people are from my generation. They're not only from my generation, of course, and this isn't like, my generation sucks, I wish they listened to Metallica. No. I would even go so far as to say Metallica is not very good. I know, real shocker, real hot take. Quote, you know, spoiler alert, it's not a very hot take. Anyways, like, a lot of those people are my age or younger who act like that, who just don't pay attention to the kid. Just get the items, get to the checkout, and get out as quick as possible. Like, don't appease the child, don't try to solve any problems they might be having, don't be an adult, don't be a parent. Just let the child scream away. Oh, that was a weird thing. Let the child scream away, damaging everyone's eardrums, and just look at funny TikTok, haha. You're damn right, bot. I definitely need to drink some water. I need to drink some water and shut up. I've been ranting too long. Okay, I do want to finish the exterior before we quit, but I'm not going to finish the front entrance of the temple, because that's going to be a little bit more of a project. But I do want to finish this, maybe both walls, like this wall and this wall. And like, I don't even really blame the kid either. It's like if a 3-year-old is crying, it's not because they're a little hell spawn. It's because they're a 3-year-old. And they don't know how else to express themselves when they are distressed. So they cry to get their parents' attention of "help me, please." What do? They just ignore their child. Let it scream throughout the whole store. Like, do I enjoy listening to children scream? No. It is very annoying. It sometimes hurts my eardrums. It's not the kid's fault. Like I said, if a 3-year-old's crying, it's not because they're a fully grown, mature adult person and they should be able to handle their shit. No. They're a toddler. Come on now. So it just bothers me when parents don't bother to do anything about it. And now that I have some people here, I want to talk about something. I'm going to go on another rant. I'm going to talk about something that I wanted to talk about, but I didn't talk about it yet because we didn't have as many people here, and I wanted to wait for people to arrive before I talked about it. So, changing subjects entirely. On Twitch, or should I start with rather, what is February, at least in America? February, at least in America, is Black History Month. During the height of the protests, where people were protesting, and yes, also rioting, but people were protesting because of the many, countless injustices against black people in our country, specifically America. Not trying to talk about what's going on outside of our borders, because I have no idea. So, Twitch had pretty good support for black streamers during Black History Month being February. Great, good, awesome. Show support to them. Did they forget about that this year? Or is it just Twitch just being lazy? Because they are celebrating Black History Month. The front page streamers that I saw today, the person that was first on the front page was not a black streamer. The next few were also not a black streamer. There was only 2 black streamers in the like actual front page showing, which I had to click on the next icon to find. I don't particularly seek them out because they're black, it's just I was kind of interested and was like, oh, let's take a look at the front page. You know, I take a look at sometimes. And I scrolled down a little and I realized, oh, they are doing a Black History thing to celebrate Black History. And they put it a couple scroll wheels down the front page, so basically they just buried it. Cool. Awesome, Twitch. They probably decided it isn't going to make them enough money. Probably, and it's more like it would cost them more money to put them on the front page than it would to just put some random people on the front page. It would cost them more money to decide to change their website slightly so that the front page would be focusing on black streamers. And this isn't like oh, I'm a white guy, so I gotta show that I check my white privilege and show support for all the black people because I have white guilt. No. This is just from human being to human being. It's kind of fucking weird. Not weird, it's bad. It's shitty for Twitch to be all supportive of black streamers and black content creators during the height of the protests, which, don't get me wrong, they should definitely and were right to do so. But now that it's not really a thing anymore for like media news. Suddenly it's like, well, I guess fuck them, they're on their own. Treat them like every other streamer during their specific month that we're supposed to be celebrating. And it's just typical corporation social media like stances. You know, there's memes about that for Pride Month too. So I wonder what Twitch is going to do for Pride Month. Probably not much. Probably not much at all. And if they do, I'll be happily surprised, and I'll be glad that they'll be showcasing a bunch of, you know, LGBTQIA plus content creators. But I won't be surprised if they do little to nothing. Okay. Let me see if the other side needs cleaned. I think the other side does need cleaned. Let me see if this other side needs cleaned. That's clean, so let's get this cleaned. Just this part, and then we'll switch to Skyrim. Those protests were such a shit show. Yeah, we won't get into that here, but I'm specifically talking about the Twitch end and how they handled it. You know, they were right to put a specific effort in showcasing those, you know, those black streamers during the height of the protests, because, like, it's kind of like what a good thing should happen. You know, they should be showcasing that community, not just because there's protests, but, like, especially because there was protests. And now that it's not the hot topic for the news, because the news is just concerned with, you know, we're being invaded by aliens, guys. Everyone doom. Everyone think the sky is falling because the U.S. shot down some, like, garbage that was floating in the air. Oh, they shot down a spy balloon. Let's cry about this for 2 weeks. It's not really in the news anymore. The protests and everything. And there's still protests going on in America for this kind of thing. But it's not newsworthy anymore, so, you know, fuck them. Never forget CNN's coverage with the skiing cap reading, fiery but mostly peaceful yeah. Again, we really aren't going to get into that right now. We'll probably save that for Discord. And even so, my current Discord policy is to, you know, we're not going to get into the controversy of the week. And if we do, I will moderate it appropriately. And the rule for moderation appropriately for the controversy of the week will be used fast and loose. Basically saying, if I want to entertain the discussion, I will have it. But if I feel like I don't want to have the discussion anymore, it'll just be quashed. Anyways, we're done for now. We'll come back to this tomorrow, I think. We'll probably get the exterior of this done, and then maybe all of the interior, but we're well past 2 hours now, so I think we're going to go ahead and switch to Skyrim. Oh, man, that caffeine from that tea is really hitting me right now. I have some dollary dues. Let's see what I can buy. Is there like a mix of blue and red? Guess... Fuck it, I guess we buy all of them. Okay. We're gonna run out of things to spend money on. Oh, we ran out of money. Alright. Let's see. Do we have a skin for this thing? Skins? Is there a button to change the skin? Oh, I see. It's right here. Flower power. Yay! Very happy about this skin. Speaking of, allow me to go on a little mini rant since I'm in a ranty mood today. Chivalry 2 not only doesn't have cross-platform progression anymore. Well, not anymore. It's just they haven't added it yet, and they likely won't. Let me just make sure this is getting saved. But they removed the flower power event item. What do I mean by that? They had an event, I think it was like a spring event for like last year. Maybe, I think. I don't know. But they had an event last year, I think, where if you played during the event, you got a cool cosmetic. You got a little flower crown that you could put on any of your characters. And I did that because I liked it. It was a very nice cosmetic, especially since it was free. Especially since you could just unlock it by just playing during the event. But they removed it. And they didn't just remove it to like, you can't purchase it with in-game currency anymore, you can't unlock it anymore. No, they removed it from everybody. It's like the only cosmetic I really cared about was the Flower Power one. Because I could do Flower Power Crown, like the little flower crown with the Squire voice, and I could be this silly little character who